grew up in a very, very secular family, and I grew up in southeast London, famous for David Bowie and Peter Frampton and Billy Idol. I didn't really have a sense of being Jewish. I didn't think we were any different to anybody else until I was at what would be called junior high in America, I guess. There was another kid in my class who was much more traditional than me, and I had another kid in our school, in our class, say to me that he wasn't allowed to play or hang out with this other kid because he was Jewish, and his father told him not to. And that really shook me up. When I was 7 years old, they were offering free music lessons at school. And I got a drum kit, and I started playing in different bands. When you're a musician as a kid, there's like a gateway to get into all the parties and all the bars when you really shouldn't be there. And at 17 years old, I decided to really take music seriously and follow it full time. Sure enough, I started working for a small publishing company in London, working in studios, working my way up from firstly just making cups of tea. But I started creating my own type of music, which was blending soul music with electronic music. I was playing live almost every single night, and before too long, the recording industry in the UK started to notice me. Eventually there was some sort of bidding war between Parlophone and Island Records, which is where I ended up signing and becoming an Island Records artist, famous for signing U2 and Bob Marley and like various other big musicians. You know, the real moment of sense of achievement was when I played a Lollapalooza in Chicago. That feeling of seeing 30 to 100,000 people singing every word to every song back marks a real sense of achievement. It's the dream. Today I live in Yerushalayim, Eretz Kodesh. Yeah, I learn in Chabura in the mornings, learning Gemara, and in the afternoons I learn in a kollel, learning Yeridea. Fantastic. You know, the very fact that I had so much siyata d'shmaya in the music industry means that I can sit and spend most of my day learning Torah. You know, I said, Kiros Elokim li toiv, David HaMelech, when he says this, what does it mean? It means that everything else is a means to an end. For a Jew, the priority is Shabbos, it's kashrus, to understand the brachas, the benevolence, and the goodness that comes from learning Torah and trying to build a meaningful relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's infinite.
Good work, Marber Rabbi Sai. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very humbled by that wonderful video. Very surprised. Thank you, Yossi. So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, if that's okay, about my journey and how individuals like yourself made such an implicit and massive difference to my life. 1 second. So, about 9 years ago, I was living in Camden Town in northwest London, about as far away, even though it's, in terms of distance, very near to the Jewish community. It's as far away as you could possibly get. And I started asking questions about myself, about my Yiddishkeit, and how I could connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I decided to go to Stamford Hill. Stamford Hill is the hub of the Hasidic community in the UK. And I found myself walking into a very large shul, asking someone if there was, by any chance on a Friday afternoon, a Kabbalat Shabbat, I think is what I said. You can't say Kabbalat Shabbat in Stamford Hill. Say Kabbalah Shabbos. And a man called Dr. Naftali Lowenthal, a very special person, he grabbed my hand and he said, "Sure, where are you eating tonight?" And I said, "Oh, I have no plans." And he said, "Okay, you eat by me." And he said, where do you live? And I said, "I live in Camden Town." And he said, "Oh, Camden Town." I said, "So where are you staying for Shabbos?" And I said, well, I was probably going to get the bus back to Camden Town. He looked so shocked, but with his sweet smile, he said, nonsense, come stay by me. He went out on a limb with someone he'd never met before in his life, a Yid who turned up in a t-shirt and jeans and a flat cap. And he welcomed me into his home, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of shleimus. I was with a family, a Torah family, who embraced me lovingly into their world. Really changed my perspective on things, to see people who were truly content, truly happy when I was living in a world where people were chasing after their desires, chasing after fruitless ambition for the sake of self-gratification. And suddenly I was sitting with people who had shleimus, who had a love for the Torah, had love for a Jew they'd never met before. Second story. When I was on my journey, growing in Yiddishkeit, I was offered a job on the south coast of England in a town called Brighton. Now, Brighton doesn't have a very large Jewish community, but I was growing in my Shabbos observance, and the only really Shomer Shabbos people there were the two rabbis, Reb Zalman Lewis and Reb Pesach Efyun. Reb Pesach Efyun made a simcha, a bar mitzvah. And while at the Suda for the bar mitzvah, a Yid with a shiny black coat and a big beard walked up to me, and he said, Shalom Aleichem. And I said, Shalom Aleichem. And he said, I hear you're from London. And I said, yeah, I'm from London originally. And he said, okay. He said, are you moving back at all? And I said, yeah, probably at some stage. And he said, okay, well, as soon as you do, look me up. My name is Akiva Feller, and I would love to have you for a meal. Love to have you for a meal. Whenever you need, just look me up. So 6 months later, it just so happened that I'd moved back to London. And for some reason, it was Sukkot, and I'd made plans with friends, whatever, friends who weren't necessarily from, but were much more traditional than myself. I had no Jewish, upbringing, no real frumkeit in my life whatsoever. And all my plans had fallen through. And I remembered, there was one Yid who said to me, whenever you need a meal, come to me. I knew where he davened. He davened in Kingsley Way Yeshiva in Hampstead Garden suburb, near Golders Green. And I remembered what he looked like. So I made my way on just Erev Sukkot to this shul. And he saw me, and with a big smile, he said, you're supposed to be eating by me, no? And I said, yeah, well, how about tonight? And he said, absolutely. And this man, Rebbe Kiva Feller, he welcomed me into his home. After that, he asked me if I wanted to learn. And for 2 hours every week we'd meet, and we would learn a little bit of halacha, some Sifrei Chasidus. And I grew and became very much a part of his life, and he became very much a part of mine. Subsequently, I learned with his nephew, Reb Mendy Efyun. And about 2 years later, during Chavrusa with Mendy, his nephew, he said to me, just so you know, there's a girl who's interested in you. And I said, oh, really? He said, yeah. He said, Reb Kiva Feller, his daughter. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Firstly, coming from a non-religious background, I never had an assumption in my mind that such a thing was even possible. And 6 months later, I got married to my wife. One kind gesture, one offer of a meal grew into a relationship with a man who became so much like a father to me. And eventually, I became his son, Mamish. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know, I heard from Reb Ben Zion Klatzko a few months ago. He said something very profound that rang so true in my mind. He said, when you put yourself out on a line for another Jew, when you go out there to be makar of somebody and bring them close to Yiddishkeit, bring them close to Hashem, firstly, you have to be their friend. You have to be their friend. You have to be there for them whenever they need you. And believe me, Bali Chova have enough Mashagasim. They need a friend. He says, then you have to be their Rav. You're their connection to Torah. Even if it's you yourself are not holding on a great level, you have to understand that you are that paradigm that they have to aspire to in Torah. You have to be their Rav. Thirdly, when the time comes, you have to be their mummy and their tati. You have to be there for them through their simchas, through their celebrations, through chas v'shalom, the opposite. And I felt it so truly when I heard Reb Ben Sion tell me this, because I thought of my own family, my wife, my beautiful children, my shver, and how it all came from just a chance meeting and a few kind words and an offer of a meal at a Shabbos table. So thank you so much for letting me speak, and please, please, please know that you can make such a tremendous difference to someone like me, to some other kid you might meet on the street. So a good vach. Thank you.
You know, today, Alex lives in Yerushalayim, and I'm zeichet to have him come by my office in Esha Torah every so often and watch how he sits with other students, college students who are searching, and to be able to talk to them and to sing to them. Alex, you're a true inspiration. Yashikayach. Alex, it wouldn't be fair to everybody here for you to just leave without a niggin. Can we hear a niggin? Maybe a little different than the niggin that we saw up on the screen, but can you share a niggin with us?
Nafshi Anim Smirois Vishirim Heroi Nafshi Zaroi Nafshi Chamda B'tzel Yadecha Lo Das Poroi Soidecha Nafshi Chamda B'tzel Yadecha Lo Das Poroi Soidecha. Can you see I'm trying to be all that you wanna me? But it's so cold now, it's so dark here. What can I do?